What's up, guys? Matt and Jerry here from Team YGO Newbs, bringing you Jeremy's top four, top four,
Local top four.
Wanghu anti-meta deck profile.
Wanghu Stun deck. I really enjoyed the deck. It's one of the most fun decks I've ever played. I'm debating on playing this or playing a different deck at locals this week because this is.
You're playing a different deck at locals.
I really enjoy playing this deck. I lost one matchup against Boojins, and that was it. I won every other matchup I had. Matt doesn't like this deck at all.
Yeah, you were my only loss aside from the Fire Fists.
I went against Boojins. They destroyed me because Boojins. And I went against Blackwings, and that was a pretty good matchup. We had good games going. I went against Batterymen, which didn't last very long.
It's a very cool Batteryman deck, though.
And then I went against a TG Stun deck, which was very interesting. I ended up winning 2-1, but they were very close games. Shout out to Nathan. So we'll get right into the profile. To start for the monsters, I play 3 King Tiger Wanghu because he's one of the key cards in the deck. He destroys any monster with 1400 or less attack, which is...
Well, any monster that's summoned.
Any monster that's summoned, yes, with 1400 or less attack. And combined with Burden of the Mighty...
That's ridiculous.
It is really ridiculous. If they summon anything and then Burden of the Mighty brings it down below 14 there, it's instantly destroyed. So he's really, really good. I run 3 Kaiku Ghost Destroyer because he's really good, especially against Boojins. You banish your opponent's key cards that are in the graveyard or
stop them
from banishing anything, so Boojins can't get off their turtles or their centipedes or their hares or whatever they may need, and he helps a lot to make good plays. I run 3 Breaker because he's actually a versatile card because if you need it, he can be a 1900 B-Sticks to get over whatever your opponent may have on the field. And if your opponent decides to try to set something like Mirror Force to get over him, then you can just pop that with the spell counter. Then he still has a solid 1600 attack. So he's pretty good. I run 2 Banisher. I find all that I need to run is 2.
It's the card that stopped my Heraldic Beast.
Just to get rid of whatever your opponent has. Just tell them no. You're not allowed to do that. Tell Boojins no. 2 Fossil Dyna, because special summoning is... We don't like special summoning here.
It also stopped my Heraldic Beasts.
So I decide that they're not allowed to special summon with Fossil Dyna and Seal of Orichalcos on the field. It's 1700 attack, difficult to get over without special summoning anything. I run 2 Tour Guide, which is a little contradictory to the Fossil Dyna, but if I do have a Fossil Dyna on the field and I draw into a Tour Guide, it's very useful to have a backup, to refer a backup plan. If they end up, getting rid of my Fossil Dyna or clearing my field or whatever, I can, Tour Guide for any rank 3 I may need at the time. Run the 1 Thunder King because every anti-meta deck needs a Thunder King because he's good. And the Grand Mole because the Grand Mole is my best friend.
I would have too. We would have probably gone into game 3 if it weren't for the Grand Mole.
The Grand Mole, Boojins hate Grand Mole.
Heraldic Beasts hate Grand Mole.
Everything hates Grand Mole, and
except my heroes.
I love Grand Mole.
My heroes don't mind Grand Mole. Even Grand Mole, my absolute 0, I don't care.
Onto the spells. I run 3 Burden of the Mighty because
King Tiger
Wanghu, and your opponent's monsters losing attack is always a good thing. So useful card to have. Run 3 Forbidden Lance, and these cards do not want to cooperate because Forbidden Lance, you want to protect your Wanghus.
Yeah, how did you get a 3rd Forbidden Lance?
I got 2 of them from Ethan.
Oh.
The 3rd one I got from Keenan. So I run 3 Forbidden Lance for spell or trap protection, and if your opponent wants to attack, then you can tell them no. Run 2 Mystical Space Typhoon because I found all that I need to run is 2 because I got the 3 Breaker, so he deals with spells and traps also, so 2 is all you really need. two-botted duality because you rarely special summon with this deck. You special summon with the tour guides, and I think that's about it. So it's really, really good for getting to your key cards faster. I run Dark Hole, mostly as a backup plan as well.
Reset button.
Essentially say, you've gotten rid of my monsters that I need on the field, so I'm just going to get rid of yours. So it's useful as a backup plan. Run the one Book of Moon because I love Book of Moon.
It's a skillful card.
It is. And then I run the one Seal of Orichalcos because
protect his weaker monsters.
Wanghu with Burden of the Mighty and Orichalcos on the field is mean. Fossil Dyna with Seal of Orichalcos on the field is mean. It's a good card to have. I never really thought of playing it before, and then I made this deck and I started playing it, and I love it. Onto the traps, I run 3 Fiendish Chain because we don't like monster effects. I run 2 Mirror Force because we don't like monsters. I run 1 Bottomless, 1 Compulsory, 1 Solemn Warning because we don't like monsters. That's really all I can say for those. Run Macrocosmos because I run the 2 Banisher of the Radiance, and if I didn't have the Macrocosmos, I'd have to run a 3rd Banisher. So I decided that I like the Macrocosmos and the Banisher of the Radiance because it adds some of the versatility in my deck. And then I run 1 Starlight Road because you never know when your opponent's going to pull out a Dark Hole or Mirror Force to get rid of your monsters.
Knight or Black Rose Dragon
So
or
the Starlight Road is good to have. If they decide to pull that out, then you can pull out a Stardust Dragon, and then you have a Stardust Dragon in your field that they don't know what to do about.
Especially with Burden on the field.
So that's the main deck, 40 card main deck. We'll get into the extra deck now. I don't really use my extra deck a whole lot with this deck just because I find the main deck is all that I need. But I like to have the extra deck as a backup plan, especially with the tour guides because tour guides can help a lot, especially with Levier.
You steal your opponent's monsters?
Levier.
You didn't know you could special summon your opponent's banished monsters?
Oh yeah, I did. I thought you were just saying take my opponent's monsters in the field. No, Levier he's really good in this deck because you're banishing everything. You can take your opponent's key cards, or you can get back, your Thunder King or whatever you may need to get back. He's really good in this deck. I run what I like to call my delinquent duo, Fortune Tune and Zen Mains, because they're ridiculous. Depending on the situation you're in, you can go Fortune Tune or Zen Mains and stall your opponent. Fortune Tune, you gain life points, which is, always good. And then he shuffles 2 level 3 and himself back into the deck when he's sent to the graveyard.
So reset the tour guide, please.
He's really good. Zen Mains, if your opponent has that monster that you don't know how to get over, just go Zen Mains and sit on the Zen Mains for a little bit.
What if that monster's Grand Mole?
No, we don't like to talk about that.
Alright.
I'll Grand Mole that Grand Mole with my Grand Mole.
Right.
So I like having these 2, and then I've got 2 beaters if I ever need it. If I have that tour guide play and my opponent has nothing on the field, I can go for game, get my beaters on the field just for, just to make that last.
For those of you that don't know, the one behind Leviathan Dragon is Acid Golem.
Just to make that last push.
Couple cards that he's borrowing from
For 4s, I run Cowboy, Emerald, and Abyss Dweller because
Abyss Dweller laughs at Mermills.
Abyss Dweller's good. Emerald, it's debatable to run this in this deck because if most of your stuff is getting banished, then you're not going to need it. But if you do get that to that point where your stuff is in your graveyard, you could go Emerald, recycle it, and then keep making plays. So that's always a good card to have. And then Cowboy is
Emerald bumps up to a 15 card extra deck.
Yeah, so Cowboy is that extra 800 if you need that push. I rarely go into rank 4s though. I got the Black Ship of Corn because he's Black Ship of Corn, and he's good for getting rid of those monsters that you need to get rid of. Diamond Dire Wolf is good for getting rid of any card on the field.
1-for-1.
I always run this card in every rank 4 deck that I have, or every deck that I can summon rank 4s. Got the Maestro because he's
staple.
One of the best rank 4s in the game. He was the best, and then Arc and Exciton Knight came out, but still one of the best.
Solely based on opinions. Please don't kill us.
Yeah. I run the Papal Operative. he's a good card if your opponent's on the defensive. You can just run over their stuff.
Or if they set Marshmallow
And
on.
yeah, so he's good to saying no to your defense. He'll have nothing of it. Run the Utopia because make it a 15 card extra deck. There's not a whole lot I put in this extra deck. It's mostly just staples. Utopia he's good for stalling, I guess. I don't go into Utopia much at all, but if I ever need him, he's there. I like to have the option. I run the Pearl because he laughs at Ophion. You can always get that extra 50 over Ophion and then run it over and then, have a heyday with Pearl. So he is good. Well, good to have in here. And then the one synchro I run is the Stardust Dragon for the Starlight Road. And, just sit there and laugh at your opponent.
Mm-hmm. So it's pretty good. Top 4 with it. What did you lose against? Or you won the top 4. You guys end up splitting. You won top 8 and top 4 ended up splitting.
I was in top 8 with TG Stun, and he almost had me, but I went 2-1 against him. The only matchup I lost was Boojins, because I couldn't get any of my cards to stop Boojins.
Because you don't have DNA surgery.
Mm.
I love my DNA surgery. Alright, well thank you for watching, guys. Tell us what you think. Feel free to try out the deck. It's in no ways copyrighted or anything, so obviously try it out. It's a very annoying deck to play against.
I love
if you're
this
one
deck.
of the people that really likes controlling the flow of battle, definitely give it a shot. Comment, like the videos, subscribe, check out our other videos, and as always, keep it strange.